Welcome to the Outdoor Biz Podcast, your home for inspiring conversations with outdoor insiders. Each week, author, speaker, adventurer, and outdoor industry veteran Rick Saez talks in depth with iconic brand founders, sales and marketing pros, product designers, and industry rising stars. Listen in when Rick's guests offer actionable advice to land your ideal industry gig and grow your outdoor career. Catch us again when the conversation shifts to the hottest outdoor products, destinations, and the latest industry insights. And now, here's Rick.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Outdoor Biz Podcast. Today, Gary Lenett from Duer Jeans drops by and talks about how the idea for jeans made for movement came to life, making jeans out of eucalyptus trees, and much more in this wide-ranging conversation. Hey Gary, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, this is going to be, I'm looking forward to this. I don't know much about jeans or the jean production process, although I wear jeans all the time. I'm going to learn a lot, I think. I hope. I'm sure I will.
Yeah, we don't just make jeans, although my background has been primarily in bottoms, wash garments, and jeans. So I call myself a jeaner because of that.
That makes sense. Yeah, you guys have quite an extension in your line, a lot of cool products. So I'm looking forward to exploring that closer. So your background is also in teaching and law, right? But on your LinkedIn profile, you say you're now known as a jeaner. Let's start with law. What inspired you to get into the law?
Well, my family, I actually come from, I think it probably goes back more than 4 generations, but as far as I can trace it, 4 generations of apparel people in different ways on both sides of my family, both maternal and paternal. And when I was a young man, I say young man, I mean like age of 10, my brother had a small manufacturing company here in Vancouver. And they used to force me in there during breaks from high school and summers. And even during university, I'd go in and help basically family business. And it's mostly a dusty, small manufacturing facility that I was in the packing room. I was packing and shipping goods. And to me, the only thing I could think of was I was graduating from high school, so I wanted to get as far away from that as possible because it just seems so dusty, dirty, unglamorous work, at least the part of it that I understood at the time. And so I became a teacher to begin with. I ended up teaching at university. I ended up teaching sort of business and law, and I went to law school, mostly driven by sort of my interest in social justice issues at the time. And then at one point, I know this is maybe a little bit long-winded, but
it's okay.
At one point, like 10 years later, my brother came to me. My father had gotten ill. My brother came to me and said, "Hey, I need some help. Will you take a sabbatical from your firm and help me out for a year?" Which I did. And we developed some synergies. My expertise, or I guess my passion, which became my expertise, was really in the process of brand building. And my brother was more on the technical manufacturing side. And so I never went back. That 1 year sabbatical became 2, and then now 30 years, over 30 years.
Interesting. So you started out in the jeans, got back in the jeans business. That sounds like a pretty good complementary set of skills for you and your brother, you being the brand builder, him being the ops side. Is that how you really became a jeaner? You got back into the family business, or it doesn't sound like you were into it before when you were younger. It's like, get me the hell out.
Yeah, I mean, I was a young boy in a shipping room packing boxes. So it was really I spent my 20s and early 30s either going to law school or practicing law, teaching law at local universities. But it was I was about 30, I think I was around 33 years old when I went back into the business with my brother. And we had this synergy because my brother and I are personality-wise, and we have different passions. And so at the time, we were really trained by Levi Strauss. I mean, that was our major customer at the time. Although we were doing work for other people like The Gap and others, Ralph Lauren, but really Levi's was our core customer. We were trained by. When I came into the business, we decided that we could see the writing on the wall in some ways in terms of domestic production going offshore. And we decided in order to fence against that, we had to build our own brands. And so, and as I say, that's what I found that I love doing. And Duer is a relatively new brand for me. There's a lot of history in between, but I consider it really the culmination of my career.
Gotcha. So that's where the idea came to you, was kind of you saw the opportunity and just jumped on it.
In terms of Duer, again, that was 25 years later.
Right.
I built I was involved in a number of brands before that. But yeah, Duer came actually a time in my life when I'm going quick and giving you sound bites, but those 25 years that I was in the business before Duer, which is a good part of my adult life, I was in the fashion side of the business. So we were trend fashion, and I was actually lost all my passion for that by the time I started Duer. In fact, I was thinking about getting out of the business. And really the origin story for Duer really comes from that little tidbit, I guess, and that I went to my wife and my partner at the time, and I said, I'm done with all the traveling. I was really leading a really unhealthy lifestyle in my view, because I was on planes all the time, hotel rooms and planes. And I said, I'm done with this. I've lost my passion for it. I gave up my car and I started riding my bike everywhere here in Vancouver, which is a great place to ride a bike. And was thinking, I'm downsizing. I'm probably going to get out of the business. But as I was riding my bike, if I had an important meeting, I still wanted to ride my bike, and I couldn't find anything that I would wear. And that really was the singular sort of impetus for Duer, is I wanted to make some clothing that I could wear on an hour-long bike ride that allowed me to be both comfortable and suit my sense of style. Because after being in the fashion business for so long and just in my DNA, I couldn't wear sort of like a synthetic rich logoed pant and dress it up right for a meeting. So the outdoor and the athleisure stuff didn't work for me. I really wanted to sort of flip that on its head and say, well, why can't we put technical into jeans and what I'll call streetwear rather than the other way around?
Right. So you created a jean that you could both be comfortable on a bike, be comfortable going to lunch or hanging out in town, but then also if you had a quick meeting to dip into, you could still look appropriate for that meeting.
Totally.
Gotcha,
or to go out with my wife, go to my wife for dinner or whatever. Again, there was really, so that you need to put technical into jeanswear, and I was able to find a partner that helped me do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for those of us that have ridden bicycles or mountain bikes in a pair of jeans, you go for any length of a ride and it's horrible after you get done. It's so uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, I sort of had this sort of inside knowledge in that one of the brands that I developed, one of my major brands, was a woman's brand. And whenever I wanted to introduce a new fabric, I would put the women's fabric into a men's silhouette just so I could wear test it.
Oh, right. Smart.
So I had this sort of gut feeling that men were getting really shortchanged, because the conventional wisdom is that men wouldn't wear stretchy, lightweight fabrics.
Right.
And yet I was wearing them and ultimately riding my bike in them in an hour commute and saying, wow, this is amazing. This is mind blowing. So that's really, and we were ahead of the curve. Now, obviously it's not mind blowing now, but this is going back 10 years.
Well, yeah, that had to be a game changer. I mean, you guys were on the forefront, and I'm guessing you obviously saw the Active Outdoor Lifestyle channel as a sales opportunity, and it's been quite successful, I'm sure. Do you remember your first dealer or first sale in that channel, or first person that you exposed to these new jeans, your creation?
Yeah, I mean, a couple early adapters that I was involved in myself. Paragon in New York City, they were a really early adapter.
They're smart. That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, and Evo in the West was also, the Evo store in Seattle was a really early adapter for us. But frankly, from the beginning, our motto was, on the wholesale side, our motto was from Nordstrom's to REI. And that's where we really had a laser focus. And REI was a very early adapter to our product. And Nordstrom's a little bit later, but both of them came on pretty quickly. And that was important to us because, again, I wasn't starting a business at that age in life in order to just copy someone. I wanted something that was differentiated. And Nordstrom's was really the proof statement of our fashion quotient, and REI was the proof statement of our technical quotient. So, and we sit, of course, in this sort of white space in between, in this lifestyle category. We're neither outdoor nor fashion.
Right, that covered both ends of the spectrum. Was it which channel was tougher? Was Nordstrom's the tougher sell or REI?
I would say that, again, because of my comfort on the fashion side, I thought that Nordstrom's and that ilk would be the lower hanging fruit, just because I had contacts and I had been selling these. But actually, the outdoor channel was much easier because it was they just didn't have any. It was much easier to explain to them why we were differentiated. Clearly, it was hard for them to get fashion brands and to have something like ours that looked like we should sit in Nordstrom's, but are now sitting in REI. It was a pretty easy sell for them.
Mm-hmm. And probably an opportunity they saw as another sales channel in their store, another sales department in their store where they didn't have. So new customers and
absolutely.
Sales.
I remember at the time they came out with a slogan. Their slogan was "Outside is outdoors," which is really sort of telegraphing this sort of urban lifestyle.
Right.
And we just aligned with that perfectly.
Perfectly. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. That's awesome. And Duer is driven by sustainability. You say pants made from plants on your website. I'm curious about the eucalyptus. Why eucalyptus?
Well, eucalyptus, there's a number of reasons why eucalyptus. I mean, eucalyptus is the non-branded name for the fabric that you make out of the eucalyptus is lyocell, which you might have heard of before.
I haven't heard of that, no.
And then the branded name is Tencel.
Okay.
Heard of that, yeah. And why? So Tencel is an amazing fabric. Like it's moist. Like I think it's one of nature's most amazing fabrics. It's made out of eucalyptus trees, and essentially what they do is they cut the wood into pieces and they ground it into pulp and then they spin it into yarns. And these yarns are actually naturally moisture wicking. They're quick dry. They're antimicrobial, and this is all natural.
Wow!
Right, and it's just the way the fabric works. So rather than using a lot of synthetics to get those attributes, like a lot of technical brands do, we were able to do it with a natural fiber, which is a big and it's sustainable. It uses 10 to 20 times less water than cotton does. Or at least if it's the branded lyocell is sustainable. If you're using Tencel and it's made in Austria, it's sustainably managed farms, and so there's just there's a bit of a no-brainer.
Yeah,
it's soft, it's comfortable.
Yeah, and you had been working with that before in some of your previous products.
Yes,
okay.
I've known and used Tencel before anybody knew what it was.
Gotcha.
It's for a long time.
Yeah. It's funny because when I was a kid, I grew up in Southern California, and we had a bunch of, the wind blew south, out of the Cajon Pass, just blew across the plains of the valley there. And they had put up a bunch of eucalyptus rows of trees as windbreaks. And so we would always, and there'd always be an opportunity to go get firewood. So my dad was always dragging us all around, getting these down eucalyptus trees for firewood. And they were all over the place. But, as a kid, you never know. You have no idea what that stuff is potentially used for. It's amazing that's been used for jeans now. That's kind of awesome.
Yeah. Well, you might have, I don't know if you noticed as a kid, but if for some reason they did get chopped down, they grow really fast.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of reasons that they're ecologically preferred.
Yeah. Yeah. There was never ending supply of firewood. We just go, there's so much eucalyptus there. So that makes sense. Yeah. And you have factories in Pakistan and China. How are things going on? How are things going over there with the COVID situation?
Well, it's been an interesting couple of years. I'm sure your listeners, I don't have to repeat anything about supply chain issues. Most of our goods come out of a factory that my partner owns, and it's completely dedicated to our product. And it's in Southeast Asia. At the moment, our factory's open. Our employees are healthy. There's been periods over the last couple of years where we've had to close because people's health is more important than money, the business. So, but that's my business partner really runs that side of it. And we've been pretty fortunate. We've been able to stay open and essentially our employees have been relatively healthy. So
that's good. It's getting better. Like over here, we seem to be out of it, although we might not be out of it, but it's same over there. They're just kind of taking it as it comes.
Yeah. I mean, they take it as it comes. I mean, the Pakistan in itself has not been hit as hard as some other places in the world. And I'm not sure exactly why, but again, there's been a few moments where we've had to close down the factory in order to just make sure that people are social distancing, etc. But it's been generally okay.
That's good. What have been some of your biggest wins these past few years?
Well, I thought I'd seen everything because again, I started this. I keep bringing up my age, but I don't know, Rick. I started the business when I was 56, and 8 years ago. Uh-huh. So I never imagined this pandemic has been a huge challenge. I thought our business was hard with fight. I think it's probably been, in some ways, the biggest challenge of my career is navigating this. Fortunately, it's also been one of our biggest wins, too. So we were able to get through it. I think it made us as an organization stronger. We're quite lucky in a lot of ways in that. How are we lucky? Well, we're lucky in that by global standards, we're still pretty small, agile organizations. So we could zig and zag as we had to shift resources. We got 3 channels that we sell. And when all our retail stores were closed, we could rely on e-commerce. And when, and vice versa. So we're lucky that way. We're also lucky because, certain businesses were really hurt by the pandemic. The outdoor business, not as much. And,
right.
And if anything good came out of it, I think a lot of people even started to understand that living a simple, healthy outdoor lifestyle wherever possible was actually one of the more important things in life. So if you take that and you combine it with this move towards working from home, comfort, the casualization of clothing, these are all core tenets of our brand. So for all the suffering out there, we've managed to do pretty well.
We're going to take a little break and give some love to our sponsor, Thrive Market. Think organic groceries are too expensive? So does Thrive Market. They guarantee savings on healthy groceries and home essentials delivered. How? It's easy. They work directly with the best organic brands so you get the highest quality products without the big retail markups. Shop everything from pantry essentials to sustainable meat and seafood to non-toxic cleaning supplies. And save up to 30% on your favorite products. Choose a free gift up to $24 in value when you purchase a Thrive Market membership. 1 year and 1 month memberships are available. Go to ricksays.com/thrivemarket and get your membership today. That's ricksays.com/thrivemarket. Now, back to the show. So, any future projects you're working on that you can talk about without sharing any state secrets, of course?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's really the horizon of time. We're always working on future projects in our business. We're 18 to 24 months out really on all of our product. So we're going to be launching what I'm calling the lightest pant ever made, which is a 3-ounce pant, the 3-ounce cotton rich pant which is unbelievable for summer weather. That we've been working on this fabric for years. And that's coming to market soon. Our mission, Rick, is to what we say in our marketing materials, and it's true, is we try to make it easy for someone to get dressed and get what we call get on with it. Get on with the meaningful stuff in life. And the part of the concept there is to be able to have people wardrobe really easily, have core basics, tasteful and stylish and versatile. And almost so, I used to say, I traveled all the time, and if my wife was sleeping and I'm going into the closet, I could almost pack in the dark. It doesn't really have to be that complicated. You have a really great pair of jeans, and you got a terrific black shirt, and et cetera, et cetera. And so, we're working for that. So we're introducing a whole bunch of new categories come this fall.
Cool.
And
I love the simple concept. That helps guys like me. Keep it simple. I don't want to think about it.
I mean, and really, classic elegance and style, in my view, should be simple. Like it's not. I'm a jeans and t-shirt guy, but I buy nice stuff that lasts a long time. I don't have a lot of things in my closet. I mean, it just really speaks to my aesthetic.
Yeah, I love that. Well, it's great for the planet too. Like, we're all worried about consumption these days. So if you can buy nice stuff, spend a little more money up front, it'll last you longer, and it's better for everybody. So I love that. Yeah, good for you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. Shifting gears a little bit, do you get outdoors much? What outdoor activities do you participate in?
Well, I try to get outdoors every day. I think I talked to you about sort of the origin story of this of Duer is around me being flying all the time and eating in restaurants, and I just said I've had enough, and I gave up my car, started riding my bike everywhere. I'm still an urban commuter, so I go most places on a bike, but I do something every day. I mean, right now, I consider my primary job my health, and keeping everything else is secondary. So where I live, in any one day, I can golf, I could ski, I can cycle, I can walk, hike. I'm fortunate I live on the water, so in the summer, I'm into stand-up paddleboard, kayaking. I play some tennis. I'm not extreme in any one of them. I'm hoping to do them all for a very long time. So, but I do something every day.
Yeah, good for you. You live in a great place for it too. You're right. I mean, you can do, as the seasons change, you just adapt your activities and get outside. That's awesome. Yeah, cool. Do you have any suggestions or advice for folks wanting to get into the outdoor biz or the apparel biz?
Oh, I'd say it's not for the faint of heart. That's for sure.
That's true. Especially these days.
Well, it's a difficult business. There's no IP, right? So no matter how much research and development you put into something, really any seamstress in the world could probably deconstruct it in a few minutes and make a pattern. Like, barriers that way. However, there are a lot of barriers to actually creating a brand and a company. So not copying a product, but creating a brand and a company. And that's really my advice, is to it's a very, very complicated business. It's not a dye mold business where you're just pumping the same thing out on a machine. And my advice would be to, for sure, work for someone else who's got a more mature business, and learn to surround yourself with people who, when you do it, if you're going to start up your own business, make sure that you surround yourself with people that have synergistic strengths with you. So if you're into design of product, make sure you got someone who understands accounting. And I can't tell you how many really sad stories I see, though. I tell people, I don't discourage them, but I see you have to be cautious. I can't tell you how many young people I see who have an idea for apparel business, and they'll save up their money and they'll send it to some mail-in overseas, and they never see their money and they never see the fabric, right? Because it's a difficult global business, and yeah. So I say my advice in a soundbite is go for it. I love the old Latin phrase, "Festine lent." Hurry cautiously. Hurry cautiously. Yeah,
that's good advice. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's good advice for anything you want to do in business.
Yeah,
very cautious. Do you have a favorite piece of outdoor gear that cost under $100? A little cycling gadget?
Under $100. Yeah. If you'd said me over $1,000, I've got some really favorite. I've got some stuff that I like. Because of my urban cycling, and especially it gets dark, where I cycle pretty early in the spring and the fall, and so I've got this. It's like a headlamp that I use when I'm riding. I think it's black diamond, and I really love that. And then I've got this Cotopaxi hip bag that I bought that I don't think was over $100 that I really like too, because I do a fair amount of hiking.
Mm-hmm. Those are two good ones. Yeah, headlamps are always, I have a million headlamps. We probably all do, but yeah, those are good ones.
Yeah.
How about a couple of favorite books? Do you read a lot? Do you have any favorite books, business books or entertaining books?
I do read a lot. Oh boy, that's like asking me to choose between my children.
What are you reading now? Maybe for me, it's always the latest one I'm reading. It's like just there's so many great books out there.
The funny thing is, right now, I'm actually rereading a book, which does tell you something if you're rereading a book. I don't know if Brene Brown, her book Dare to Lead. So I love I listen and read all of Brené's stuff, and I find she's really inspiring. Yeah, the books I read are generally can be broken down into a couple buckets. I'm into meditation and sort of Eastern philosophy, or business books, and so Brené Brown, would I put her on the business side really? And I'm rereading another book right now by Jack Kornfield called A Path with Heart, which is one of my favorite books. It's an old classic, but it's about his experience as he's a MD.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy.
Goes off to India, Jack. Yeah.
So those are good.
Yeah,
those are good ones. Yeah, I'll have to get that one by Jack. I haven't read that one. That'd be a good one. Add that to my list. Book. Yeah,
I read it every decade. I think.
Every what?
Every decade.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's cool. That's a really good idea. Yeah. As we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to say or ask of our listeners?
No, just that I feel that this has really been a privilege of a lifetime, being able to build a brand that is so closely aligned to who I am. Like, it's so easy for me to talk about this because but really, there wasn't much force here. It just sort of sprung out of me riding my bike to work and not being able to find something that I would wear. And any of your listeners are interested, they can find us in the usual places on our social channels at Duer Performance, and they can find me most easily at LinkedIn. I don't have a lot of social presence, but they can certainly find Duer.
Cool. We'll put links to all that in the show notes too. And you guys have a nice offer for listeners to get some Duer jeans, 15% off online orders with the code OutdoorBiz15. Thank you very much for that.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, one of our mottos is that you don't really know you have a problem. You didn't know you're uncomfortable until you try our pants. So,
well, I'm going to grab a pair. I like that stretch concept. That as we all get older, we could use more room and stretch. So I'll try that out. Well, thanks, Gary. It's been great talking to you, and I appreciate the time.
Thanks, Rick. Take care.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Outdoor Biz Podcast. Be sure to visit our website, theoutdoorbizpodcast.com, where you'll find show notes with links to everything we talked about and more. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts so you'll never miss an episode. And while you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or spread the word and tell a friend about the show. That would really help us out too. Be sure to tune in every week. And thanks again for listening to the Outdoor Biz Podcast with Rick Saez.